Mustang Malayalam, NHRA!
1 year ago with the NHRA U.S. Nationals, Ricky Smith took an emotional victory as he became the first driver to win 2 times at the biggest race of them all. Ricky also went on to win his 2nd consecutive Pro Modified Season Championship, but so far this year, he's only won at Bristol. Can he rediscover his Indy magic? Within the NHRA is a class of car that defies convention. Door slammers with nitrous, turbos, blowers. These are the Mavericks. This is Pro Mod. The J&A Service Series moves to the biggest drag race on the NHRA Mellow Yellow Tour, the most prestigious title to win in all of drag racing, the NHRA Chevy Performance U.S. Nationals, just outside of Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Raceway. Mother Nature usually plays a huge role in the outcome of this drag race because the weather can fluctuate at this event like at no other. This thing's already shattered records even when the weather wasn't that good. Believe it or not, it's the quickest 16-car qualified field in the history of NHRA Pro Modified. Moreover, some of the biggest names in the sport have not qualified. One of them is point leader Bob Ram.
We had some mechanical problems this weekend, and it's just one thing that can go right and 1,000 things go wrong in this sport. So, you know, it wasn't really engine related. It was the ancillary parts of the engine that just, you know, weren't doing what they're supposed to do. So we tried, but it just, like I said, wasn't meant to be.
The biggest shock of all, the current #1 points earning driver didn't qualify. Within qualifying highlights included multiple explosions for Billy Glidden in the Mickey Thompson Tires and Wheels Mustang, and this wild ride by Don Walsh in Harry Haruska's outrageous twin-turbo Camaro, yanking the front wheels high for a full 1/8 mile before he had to get off the throttle before the car went into the other lane. Meanwhile, some of the best-known names in the J&A Services Pro Mod Series didn't even qualify. Mike Knowles, Mike Castellana, Kevin Fiskus, Pete Farber, none of them got in. But we're ready for the first round of eliminations with Troy Coughlin Jr. and the Jegs.com turbocharged Corvette taking on Clint Satterfield in the Turbo Pig 68 Firebird. And this year's rookie sensation drives away for a victory. Whoa, we've got problems on the top end for Clint Satterfield, who barely controls his car as it flew in front of young Coughlin. Wow.
You beat Satterfield, it was a whole shot. A little one, he was the thousandth quicker. You go 5:92.9 for the win light.
You know, we'll take what we can get, that's for sure. The conditions out here in Indianapolis are a little tricky, but thanks to our crew chief, Steve Petty, and the Jegs.com group, they've really got us on the rails, so I can't ask for anything more. They're a fantastic group of men to race with.
That'll bring up home state Hoosier Michael Bealey in his twin-turbocharged Mustang against a car that nobody had ever seen before.
Obviously, it's a little nerve-wracking coming out and bringing a brand new race car out, you know, for an event like this, and but it's working great. Car's working great. Team's doing a great job.
It's true. Brand new Agave Underground Tequila Corvette for the Mike Ivy team and driver Danny Rowe. The supercharged Corvette is out to a big start, but here comes the turbo car and the Mustang wins. A brutally close race, but a 252-mile-per-hour speed for the Mustang takes it.
Mike Bealey climbs out of the Boss Mustang, man. It has been a very consistent weekend for you. You guys had a great qualifying effort, a couple runs in the high 80s, and you put Rowe on the trailer with a 5.93.4 in the first round.
Oh, man, it feels great. I don't even know what to say right now. It's a dream come true to come here. U.S. Nationals was my home track, my hometown, and qualify as good as we did, and then come out here and have our first round win ever. It's amazing.
Here's Don Walsh in that outrageous Mickey Thompson Tires and Wheels twin turbocharged Camaro of Harry Haruska. He'll be up against the supercharged entry of Dubai's Khaled Al-Balushi, who qualified this Chevy Camaro in Pro Modified and one of Don Schumacher Racing's top fuel dragsters.
I've been a little bit busy between warm over there, come back here, warm the car. We got little sponsor stuff we've been doing between both cars. But about the driver, no, we don't have any problem to jump from the register, come back to Pro Mod.
As a past world champion in Pro Modified, he shouldn't have any trouble jumping back and forth, but he's got his hands full with the bright red turbo Camaro in the far lane. Oh, accidental deep stage by Don Walsh. Will it hurt him? It sure will. A red light start because he was almost over the starting line when the tree countdown began, and the win goes to Khaled Al-Balushi, your #1 qualifier.
Khaled Al-Balushi pulls off the helmet and the headsock. The Frank Manzo power coming through, and a good driving job out there as well. You go low for the round so far, 591, 244 miles per hour.
Yeah, you are really right. It's a good job from all our team and Frank Manzo. We've been working hard last 2 weeks to put this deal together, and finally he catch what he need, and I think we are way happy with what we got now.
Here are two of the biggest stories of this drag race. The Turbo's direct Chevy Camaro of Californian Rick Snavely and Billy Glidden in the Mickey Thompson Tires and Wheels Mustang, which was plagued with problems that both he and his wife and father thrashed on all weekend.
Dad came over and helped us at the shop last night. That's how tough it's been. He left the shop about midnight, and her and I got this turd back together at about 2 a.m. Went home, took a shower, and laid down just long enough to make your eyes burn real bad, and got out here, and it was all we could do to get up there.
Meanwhile, Snavely qualified in the top 3 at the fastest speed recorded in NHRA Pro Modified Racing in 4 years, 257 miles per hour. And Snavely drives around Glidden and runs that big speed for the second time this weekend.
And I don't even know what to say right now. What a dream to be here, and I said I want to try and get a hat today, and I got a hat. And everybody works so hard. I just want to thank everybody. We want to come here and do well. That's what we're here for. You know, I feel for some people, you know, if they get pumped aside a little bit, but they'd all do the same thing in my shoes. I'll guarantee it. Every one of these guys.
Snavely doesn't know what to say. None of us know what to say. It's only his second NHRA race ever. Stay with us. Round 1 continues. This exclusive coverage of the NHRA J&A Service Pro Modified Drag Racing Series is presented by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. By Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. And by Aeromotive, serious fuel systems for pro mods to hot rods and everything in between. We're back with the continuation of round number 1 of eliminations here at the biggest drag race of them all, the 61st Annual Chevrolet Performance NHRA U.S. Nationals. You're on board with surprise number 2 qualifier Brazil's Sidney Frigo, who used to race NHRA Top Fuel dragsters.
He's a totally different driver because Top Fuel is a long car. You have more time to make correction. And this car you need to go too soft, big soft, little soft. But it's okay, I prefer, today I like much more Pro Mod.
Frigo qualified his brand new machine number 2 behind Khaled Al-Belushi in this program. He's alongside Jim Whiteley from Colorado, who has a magnificent lead here and will not be threatened. The owner of the J&A Services, Chevy Chevelle, advances to round number 2 with a massive hole shot.
You know, we won this with an Alcohol dragster several years ago, and it was one of the highlights of my career. Looking forward to trying it again.
The next race is a rematch of the most recent final round on the tour. It's Mike Janis against Troy Coughlin Sr.
Getting down to, you know, almost 3/4 of the way through the season. We're fighting for a couple spots at the top, and there's a handful of guys that can take it away just like we can take it away from them. So looking forward to the battle.
This race has monstrous points implications for both drivers with only 4 events to go in the season. Janis is ahead. An explosion at the finish line in the near lane, but he wins it nonetheless. And he might be having trouble getting this thing stopped. Maybe a little liquid on the tires. Watch the replay. Janis thunders out in front, but here comes the turbo car. Watch the nose of the near lane. Kaboom, that's damage. Now Steve Matusik in the near lane, backing up Mike Ivy's Agave Underground Tequila Supercharged Camaro, gets ready to take on surprise entry Richie Stevens at the wheel of the nitrous oxide injected Purple Gorilla Camaro.
I mean, this thing's a totally different animal than a pro stock car. You know, it's got a lot more power, and it actually handles really well. You know, you watch a lot of pro mods and they go down and get crazy, and this one, you know, knock on wood, it's been really forgiving and going straight as an arrow, everyone. I think that's got a lot to do with Jeff and his tuning and you know, the car.
The Oklahoma team's normal driver, Ron Minks, didn't have enough points to enter this event, but Richie Stevens did. And Stevens shakes the tires, it's over. Matusik advances with another solid 5-second effort. With the parachutes blossomed, he'll coast down to the top end to talk with our own Brian Loans.
The heat, talk to me about that and how Jimmy's been dealing with it in the car.
Well, you know, my car's been very difficult in the heat. We actually made a four-link change for the first time before this round, so we didn't know what it would do. I guess it worked.
The final pair in the first round are on the starting line. Stephen Whiteley's incredibly popular supercharged Cadillac CT-SV takes on the two-time and defending world champ Ricky Smith. It's a supercharged versus nitrous oxide injected matchup, and Whiteley's got his hands full. He's out in front, but runs into problems, and Ricky Smith gets a reprieve. An ugly victory for Ricky, but he'll take it as he goes into round number 2. In fact, he'll be the only nitrous oxide injected entry against 3 turbo entries and 4 supercharged vehicles. Meanwhile, back in the pits, the sensation of this event, Rick Snavely, is thrashing on his turbocharged Camaro with a very youthful crew, which reflect the student body of the School of Automotive Machinists.
Sam is the School of Automotive Machinist. We're a vocational school in Houston, Texas. A lot of people get us confused with mechanic schools. We are for racing engine machinists. That's what we do. We have a number of different courses. Most students take all of them, but we start with the block course, then we have a cylinder head course, we have a CNC course, and you can finish up with an academic associate degree. We have graduates in almost every major team that I know of: Pro Stock, Top Fuel, Funny Car, we have IndyCar, and certainly NASCAR. We have a bunch of them over there also. One of our graduates that's here today in Indy is Dean Underwood with Johnson & Johnson Pro Stock team. Really good guys, worked hard, been over there and done a good job.
When I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to go work for some type of an engine building, whether it was R&D or at the racetrack. And I didn't have any machining background, so the school offered all of that for me. It's probably the only school in the country that offers the ability for you to come out here and be able to be with a top-notch team and have the education to fit in place.
After the students complete the certificate course or the associate degree course, we do work with them on getting jobs in the industry. We have a lot of connections, and we stay with them until they're working somewhere. I think our placement rate now is over 98%. Sam's fully accredited, and we are accredited for the GI Bill. We're a military-friendly school.
A source of superstars of the future. Meanwhile, back in the pits, Frank Ace Manzo tunes Khaled Al-Belushi's Camaro for round number 2, which is coming up. We're back at Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis for round 2 of the J&A Service Pro Modified Showdown here at the NHRA U.S. Nationals, presented by Jegs.com. For round number 2, Khaled Al-Belushi, the number 1 qualifier, is still in the program. He's in the near lane, but he's got his work cut out for him. Troy Coughlin Jr., one of the rookie sensations in NHRA Mellow Yellow drag racing this year, stages up the Pro Line Racing Engines Corvette. Frank Ace Manzo standing behind Belushi, his driver, in the near lane. Problems for Coughlin. And Belushi, the driver from Dubai, advances. A great run in the heat of the day as well.
Pretty amazing. He went 91.8 yesterday, 91.4 today, man. This is like a bracket car.
You know what this mean? Our coach chief exactly he know what he been doing. Thank you.
Ace Manzo does know exactly what he's doing. In the next pair, Jim Whiteley in the blue supercharged Chevelle has got to be ready for some starting line games against world champ Ricky Smith.
You know, he might shut it off, or he might pull up and back up and go back in. Whatever. It's the fans like it, and it's fun stuff.
Every driver thinks they know what kind of trick Ricky's going to pull on the starting line, but he always comes up with something new. This time it's just taking his sweet old time. Now he gets in, and both drivers shake the tires for the second straight round. Ricky takes an ugly victory, but Ricky knows never question a win light.
Ricky Smith, it's a one run a day or one round at a time type of game here at Indy. You go 6:08, 244. He left on you, but you ran him down.
Every run of qualifying, we went down the track like a bracket car. And we ain't got down the track yet in eliminations. I mean, we're being lucky.
Now the top speed superstar, Rick Snavely, in his California Turbos Direct Camaro backs up to the starting line, campaigning for a cause near and dear to many fans' hearts.
Jessica Gallardo was diagnosed with a brain tumor about 2.5 years ago. For years, she worked at NHRA and National Dragster in the front office. She got the tumor removed. It was benign, but she's having little minor issues. She's doing very well now, but everybody is showing their support by running a decal to bring awareness to brain tumors.
Bear in mind, Snavely had only ever appeared at one NHRA JNA Service Pro Mod program before. That was last year's Las Vegas event. Can Steve Matusik stay out in front of the 257-mile-per-hour terror? Absolutely not. And look at the speed. It's the third fastest speed ever recorded in this series.
We haven't seen a lot of clean runs this round, but yours was clean from start to finish.
Thank goodness. That's all we can hope for. And we'll see how, try it again next round.
Go get him.
Thanks, guys.
One gets the impression Rick Snavely's just as stunned as the rest of us. Backing up in the red, white, and black Camaro is the most recent winner on the tour, Mike Janis, in his supercharged Camaro from Buffalo, who's been replacing some parts.
We heard of two pistons yesterday. Basically, the motor got hot from sitting there idling so long, hotter than normal. So we got to address that today. And other than that, we're in good shape.
Janis has apparently fixed the problems from that first round explosion, but he's up against Michael Bealey, who had a clean 252-mile-per-hour run in round one with his blue twin turbocharged Ford Mustang. Lots of shake for Michael Bealey. He is forced to get off the throttle. Janis will take it. Not his best run of the event, but it's a win. Crew Chief Mike Janis Jr. looks concerned. There might have been problems not quite visible to us on that run. Here's Brian Lones.
Well, first words out of your mouth, Mike. You said you dodged a bullet.
The car just got in high gear, just kept shutting on and off. And I mean, it actually quit for probably half a second, came back on, back off. So now try and figure that out.
But Janis advances to the semis, and that's huge in the points. He'll take on fellow supercharged racer Khaled Al-Belushi in the semis, while Rick Snavely's turbo car meets Ricky Smith's nitrous Camaro. Stay with us for the semifinal round. This exclusive coverage of the NHRA JNA Service Pro Mod Drag Racing Series is brought to you by the School of Automotive Machinists. Education at full speed. By Jegs and Jegs.com. We race what we sell. And by JNA Service, a leader in oil and gas well servicing and exploration. We're ready for the semi-final round. 4 cars remain, including this matchup between 2 supercharged entries. That's Mike Janis. And there's problems for Khaled Al-Belushi. Crew Chief Ace Manzo says shut it off as the car lost fire on the burnout. It refired, but then didn't sound good at all. Mike Janis takes the free run. He shuts the car off at half track, or did it shut itself off? Meanwhile, Ace Manzo explains what went wrong with Belushi's car.
All these cars has a safety device on the track after the finish lights. It automatically turns the fuel with the parachutes. And something malfunctioned in the safety device. It didn't put the chutes out on the starting line, but it turned the fuel off.
When Junior walked up and went like this in front of me, I'm like, no, it can't be. I just wasn't sure. And I go, you sure? You know, and he goes,
Now to determine who will race Mike Janis in the final round at the U.S. Nationals. Will it be upstart sensation Rick Snavely in his turbo Camaro, or will it be two-time and defending world champ Ricky Smith, who, as you might expect, is a little irritated at Snavely's performance?
I've been preaching for a year and a half about the turbo cars, and they're showing. They brought some, I'm not saying no-name guys, just guys that hadn't run with us, and you see what they're doing with them turbo cars. So I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I've tried to tell NHRA, and they think I'm dumb, so that's okay. We're going to make them change the rules one way or the other, because Ricky Smith is building a turbo car, and I will make NHRA change the rules.
What? Ricky Smith announces he's going to build a turbocharged car? I think we'll believe that one when we see it. Meanwhile, Ricky's IDG Camaro is still using nitrous oxide injection and is going to do everything in his power to beat the fastest turbocharged car we've seen in 4 seasons. Smith is out in front, but 257 mile-per-hour horsepower is enough to defeat Smith, who actually shut his car down when Snavely came marching past. Wow.
ProMod 101 is brought to you by Precision Turbo and Engine.
So we had a spectator asking about how we keep up with technology. And it's really interesting because week in and week out, everything changes in racing. Just recently, we acquired a new printer, a 3D printer from Stratasys. It helps us in our development. What used to take us months, maybe even years to develop, we can do in days, maybe weeks. What used to cost us $50,000 might only cost us a few $100s now with the right equipment. For an example, we can print out a plastic turbocharger complete. Here's a compressor cover. It just took a few hours to make this. Years ago, we would have had to make a mold, cast it. It'd been thousands of dollars, and here this part just cost maybe $100. In technology for turbine wheels, we can design, manufacture, we can print this wheel, we can cast this wheel, we can actually have it on a turbocharger in a couple weeks. It used to be a 3 to 4 month process minimum, and $50,000 to make that wheel, and now we can just do it for maybe several $100s or a few thousand. So the really cool thing about working with companies like Stratasys is they've got engineering support, they've got customer support. If you buy their equipment, you can literally start manufacturing parts the next day for the performance aftermarket, and that's really what helps us keep ahead of the game.
Amazing innovations and advancements, but now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the final round of the most important drag race of any season here at the NHRA Chevy Performance U.S. Nationals. Mike Janis against upstart Rick Snavely. Janis is way out in front, but the turbo car drives around for the biggest upset not only of this year, maybe of the decade. Rick Snavely, in only his second NHRA Pro Mod appearance ever, wins the biggest title available.
Rick Snavely is going to receive the Wally of a lifetime here. Craig Shantz from Chevrolet Performance going to present Rick with the title from the Pro Modified race this weekend. A final round worthy of everything this race is about. The East Coast car from New York, the West Coast car. Snavely, you go 589 to 257 in the final round.
Wow, what? There's no words to explain this. I mean, to come here and just even to qualify was just amazing. And there's no way that this is set in yet, but it will, and I can't wait.
Congratulations, Rick Snavely. Great performance.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And while Snavely's victory was indeed impressive, even more so was Mike Janis's rocket to the top of the point standings. He's now several rounds ahead of Troy Coughlin and Don Walsh. And elated Rick Snavely hoists the Wally. On behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, Brian Lones, and Ted Jones, we'll see you next week from Charlotte.